Good morning, grandkids. Today is reading another chapter of my story about Dorkly the young wizard in a land far, far away. This is chapter 36. Bonester left the palace and went to the barracks and rounded up a few of his best guards, including the young guard that had been assigned to Dupree, Sergeant Gable. I figure you could use some more battle training to make the best warrior guard for the king's son, since that will be your main mission. I've sent someone back to tell Dupree that you're with me. Gable nodded as they all saddled up and took off toward the corkscrew mine. In the meantime, King Conley and Inez were making plans to get her things from her home in Blue Haven and moving her into the spire that used to belong to Gorman. The king, I can't hardly read. I'm going to put this light right up on. I can't see. Where am I? The king was hoping that she wouldn't be living there for long, and he smiled to himself. When they had made their plans for keeping her safe, he called for a guard. He knew that the two guards that he had assigned to her before were still at her house. When the guard appeared, Conley said, "I want you to get about 3 women to pack up Inez's house, then bring them and the 2 guards there back here. Take however many carriages and wagons as needed." He then turned to another guard and told him to round up a couple of cleaning ladies and a male employee and send them to completely empty out old Gorman's spire and make it ready for Inez. He knew that Dorkly had already had all of his dad's potions and supplies and all such paraphernalia moved to his own place, but he also told them to find Dorkly, take him along so that he could take whatever else he wanted of his dad's. As Bonester rode toward the mine entrance, he stopped to talk to the 2 guards sitting at a camp table off the road, just south of the entrance. The place looked like a pigsty. He made note to mention this in his report to the king. He knew the guard in charge at the mines was an older man named Sergeant Norris. "Hey, Sergeant Norris," Bonester said as he got off his horse. "How's it going around here?" he asked. "Hot and boring," Norris said as he flipped a gaming card onto the table, watching his partner snatch it up. Bonester rolled his eyes, then said, "What's it like with the men inside the mine?" "Hot and boring," Norris drawled, fishing out another card to throw down. Bonester stepped up quickly and whacked him on the back of the head. "Stand up," he snapped, as both men jumped up. "Get your gear together, both of you. Get up to the bunkhouse in Blue Haven and stay there until I get back." He then turned and kicked over the table, sending the cards flying. He turned to 2 of his guards and stand duty on either side of the mine entrance. I'll send back someone of the permanent guards to relieve you as soon as I get back. Whack any heads that you have to if any kind of trouble starts." 2 guards saluted and took up position on either side of the mine entrance. Bonester and the rest went inside Corkscrew Mine. I think Bonester's a little put out, isn't he? He's getting his ire up. Dorkly was in his laboratory and saw when Bonester and his men arrived at the mine. He chuckled out loud when he witnessed how Bonester treated card-playing guards. He poured out some sparkling dust onto the liquid in his scrying bowl where he was watching over events at the mine. He stirred the mixture, and when it settled, he could now not only see but hear what was going on. "Wow, Dad, that's some cool stuff," he exclaimed out loud. "I'm glad I got all of it. I might actually become worthy of being the court wizard." And he continued to peer into the bowl, keeping his eye on Bonester and his men. Othello and her husband finished their stroll through Dermis's house and looked at each other and shook their heads. "I think that the view of the ocean is beautiful, but I wouldn't feel safe trying to raise children out here," Othello said. "Well, I actually agree, and I also would miss the people in the market and the bustle within the city of Blue Haven," William said. They smiled at each other and strolled the long way back around the beach to the front gates into Blue Haven. They walked among the stalls, picking up one thing after the other, showing them to each other. William kept noticing a woman who kept showing up nearby. He finally said, "Fella, see that woman over there that has really short hair?" "Yeah, that one in the pants and boots. Really short hair. Maybe she has some kind of disease and is losing it," Othello said, trying not to be too obvious in looking. "Well, when I look and notice her, she quickly looks away. I think she's following us and watching us." "Why would she be?" Then Othello said, "Maybe she thinks you're cute," and she laughed. They walked on, but William still kept an eye on her and wondered if he should summon their guard, who was walking somewhere behind them. He was going to later mention it to the guard and to the king. I think I slipped over too many pages. No, I guess I didn't. All right. Back at the mine, Bonester and his guards were walking through the mine, noticing the lack of work ethic among the miners. He had occasionally gotten reports about this, and it was a good thing to see it for himself. He was going to nose around in the little village on his way out. Later, he planned to give a detailed report to the king. He asked questions of a couple of miners, getting about 2 or 3 worded, tired answers. He finally saw Parker up ahead, and he and Sergeant Gable walked toward him. Just then Parker looked up and saw them, and he turned and took off farther into the mine. Bonester and Gable took out after him. Parker came to a place where a crew had started the tunnel going in another direction, not but about 4 feet deep. He stepped into it and turned, waiting with a knife that he'd pulled out of his pocket. Finally, the guards reached him, turning toward him, short spears in their hands. Parker slashed out, his knife going into Gable. Before he could pull it out, Bonester struck, hitting Parker in his shoulder. They both looked at Gable as he slowly slumped to the floor. They quickly looked back up at each other. Parker's eyes widened as he saw the anger in Bonester's eyes and the sword swinging toward his neck. Parker's head fell to the tunnel floor and rolled a little ways, eyes still staring in fright. The rest of the guards rushed up and looked down at Sergeant Gable and the head. then looked at Parker's body slumped in the crevice. General Bannister started walking up, telling his men first to take care of Sergeant Gable and get him to a healer. Any guards left could do whatever they wanted with Parker in his head. You can shove them in a river somewhere for all I care. Then he turned toward his men and said, actually, take them, the body and the head, and lay them in front of the governor's door, whatever he's called. Then knock on his door. Tell him to take care of it and to take care of the mine, 'cause I'm coming back. That's the end of this chapter. Do you think Bannister's getting a little upset about how things are going at the mine? I think so. So we shall see what's going to be happening next when we come back next weekend, or next Friday. And I will see you all then. Bye-bye, grandkids.